So the first is what is the value of all these things to you? What is the value making sure your associates begin to understand who we are, what we do, and why we do it in a fundamentally consistent way? What's the value to you? What's the value of building culture early in their experience in a way that is truly sticky, that actually has them begin to say, hey, this is really what we're about. A good example for Goodyear culture, and I'll use it it used to be almost physical. We have a whole wall in headquarters of these signs that were, Goodyear's 100 plus years old, but these signs literally go back, way back in history. And all the signs say the same things, Dirk. They say, protect our good name. How do we build that value, that center of our culture that's so important and representative to us across many cultures across the globe? How do we do that? OnRamp gives us an opportunity to build that culture early on. And then there's the employee value proposition. Many organizations who recruit do a great job on the outside, and I think a little less of a consistent job in first experiences. And I see, Bill, you shaking your head, on the inside. So, hey, we said these great things, but then your first few days aren't quite those great things that you said to me about. And you begin to feel a little disappointed. And maybe perhaps you're wondering if you made a good choice. Our goal is to answer these questions even from day one. And then finally, your brand. What's your employer brand in the market? And is it consistent? And is it real? Or is it just something that's your air cover, but on the ground, people are really not living it and experiencing it that way? So those are the fundamentals, Dirk. And we started it from there. So let's talk about what someone sees when they get started. Getting started at Goodyear. So what does it look like? What is this thing? And I was going to do product touring, but I felt it might get a little distracting, giving you some of the chunking. So here's your first getting started. Welcome to Goodyear. This is Goodyear, our strategy, just for you, some survey and resources. So we start light, and I'll show you the full design of that first chunk of the journey. We have it laid out systematically, but that's what they'll see. It's not overwhelming. It's actually quite inspirational and really interesting, and it's very interactive. And Kara, when we get to the journey, I'll come back to you because it turns out we have data on that. It's a really great question. And then products and innovation. I'm highlighting some of these things because they represent things that are particularly focused and important to a company like ours, which is a product-focused and innovation-focused company. So even taking a very deep dive thing, you can see that our treatment starts light, and that's really important. Because if a person has 12 different things on the screen that they have to explore in a world where they've got 5 minutes to do that, they are not going to do that. Our product testing showed us that. But if they're encouraged and given a way to touch on these things in a way that's so quick and accessible and brings them in, and we have unique messages from our leaders that are uniquely recorded for this that will be updated as part of our work continuously to really help people think about what we mean when we talk about our products and innovations, and to get them excited and interested in that at an early stage, as opposed to hearing about that a year from now or 2 years from now. Some closing thoughts for all of you. Prototyping. Run small experiments and fail fast and iterate. This is going to be a change. Pay attention to process and introduce it slowly. Don't just introduce it. Make sure it sits in a process. Otherwise, it's just a program and it may get it rejected. Rethink what you're measuring and how you're going to tell your story. I would suggest to everybody that for something like this, we think about measuring engagement, not completion. Our learning senses completion. Y'all think about engagement. Focus on engaging connections made and less on the content used, to Dirk's point. How well is it contributing to that EVP? Is it an experience that matters, or does it feel like the HR organization to our associates like a check the box, another thing I'm being forced to do?